Hey, this is Russ. Hey, I'm back in the car again. I'm actually sitting in the parking lot of a grocery store. I was on my way to Costco, as I usually am in the morning. But, yeah, my windshield was frosting over. Yeah. It's snowing right now. It's a very light hazing of snow. It's small little flurry type things, but it was enough to get us a blanket of snow on the driveway. I didn't realize it had snowed. Yeah, I mean, you can't hear snow. You're sleeping, you can't tell anything. By the time I woke up and I looked outside, I go, oh, it's got some snow on the driveway. Okay, well, I'm going to have to shovel that or use the snowblower. But it's such a small amount that the snowblower wouldn't really do a whole lot of anything. So I says, okay, I'll go out and shovel it. Well, when I got out there, it's all frozen over already. Yeah, it's it's frozen over so that I can't even get any of it off. So it's like a layer of ice on the driveway. Mrs. Wright will not be pleased. She usually wants me to get out there and get that stuff off. But the thing is if it's already frozen over, it's not much I can do. So I figured, well, I'll head to Costco as I usually do, get my slice of pizza. And as I'm driving, my windshield is freezing over because, the car is a certain amount of coldness. And then as the little misting of snow and wet, rainy things are happening, it's just freezing on the windshield. So if you hear any noise, the scraping sounds, that's the windshield wiper trying to do it. So I'm driving down the road and it's frosting over so bad I had to pull over to let the car heat up a little bit so that it'll just melt off whatever's on the windshield. Otherwise, I wasn't able to see. I was actually leaning down towards the bottom part of the windshield to see because, the vent is going on the bottom, pushing up on it. So that's the only part that I was able to see out of. The rest of the windshield was frosted over already, like 3/4 of the windshield. So to be safe, I decided I have to pull over. So I'm just sitting here waiting for the thing to heat up a little bit more, and then I'll go on. My fear, of course, is as I'm in Costco and the car starts cooling down, it'll start freezing over again. So I think the main thing is got to get that car warmed up, make sure that the windshield is warm enough so that it melts off whatever thing lands on it. Terrible. The streets don't look so bad. Okay, it's time for me to go. The streets don't look so bad as far as snow because it's cars running over it melts the snow over off of it, and then you're fine. But if it freezes, it'll be bad. The current weather right now is about 25 degrees outside. And they said it's just going to go down from there. It'll go down to about 17 today. So that's not good. I didn't see any forecast for snow yesterday when I was looking at the forecast, because I always look at the forecast to see what I'm up against. And apparently the snow happened. All right, let's pull out of here. Now, some interesting things to tell you. As I usually do in the morning, I will look at the results of how the videos have been doing. And I would say that the Russ is Right video that I did about the California law that got passed concerning Class 1, 2, and 3 e-bikes, I think it's really taken off, man. It's over 21,000 views now. I think what struck a nerve for a lot of people is the fact that, first off, you're immediately telling it it's California, things are happening, and then people have started to hear about the law, so they're checking anything they can to find out what is the deal with the law. And so it's really taken off. I ended up having to turn the comments off on that because we were getting so many political related comments that had nothing really to do with the video itself. It's just a blame of political parties. And I got tired of having to police all that, so I just said forget it. So I turned it off. Now you have an option. You could either turn it off or you could pause it. So what I did is I paused it. And by pausing it, it means that those who have already commented on the video you can still see those comments. If I turned it off, all comments would go away, and I didn't want to do that. So I left those up there. But then any new comments, of course, can't be done because you cannot comment any longer on that video. I really kind of hate doing that, but it just was getting out of control. And with 21,000 views, you can imagine how many comments there would be for me to have to take a look at and check and everything. So I said, no more. We're done with it. I also was looking at the video I posted on Saturday. Well, I recorded on Saturday. I posted it for this morning's on Monday, which is the video with the night, super night mode on the camera. Let me turn this alarm thing off. That's the radar detector. Yeah, many people said that they thought that the night mode looked good. I thought it looked good too. As we left Costco, because it didn't look that bad as when I first started the video. Right, it seemed like it's still fairly bright outside. It really wasn't. It was still kind of dark. But by the time we went into Costco, made our purchase of the chicken and came back out, it was already getting pretty dark. You could see it, but it looked really cool, didn't it? I thought it looked really cool with the Costco lights that were lighting up the parking lot, and then you could see the blue of the sky and everything. Yeah, it looked really nice. And then, of course, as I'm driving back, you can see it darkens up like crazy because then there's no more lights coming in. But then, of course, the color of the lights from the tail light in front of me and all that lit me all up. I'm all red and everything. Yeah, it's kind of neat. Yeah, I thought it was definitely less grainy and noisy compared to the very first time we tried to do something with a lower light in the car. So yeah, camera does a good job. Let me say this concerning this DJI camera. It would be the preferred camera for me at this point, over GoPro, because it allows me to put this transmitter directly to the camera. I mean, I don't have to use the big audio recorder I have been using in the past with the lavalier mic and everything. This thing Bluetooths directly to the camera, and the sound quality is much better than when this thing was just sending to its receiver, the transmitter sending to the receiver and then connected to the GoPro. So the Bluetooth actually works really good on it, and the sound is not bad. I do enhance the audio a little bit, just so that you guys know on these things. What I do is I increase at 2,000 hertz, I increase it by 2 decibels. At 4,000 hertz, I increase at 2.5 decibels. And then at 30 hertz, I believe, I take it down negative 12 dB. And the reason is because, the rumbling in the car when you hit a bump or something like that, it would cut out more of that rumbling for you. That's why my voice sounds different in the car than it does when I use a studio mic. The studio mic I don't do anything to. It's just the sound of the mic coming through. So I have the depth of my voice comes back again. But in here, the depth is gone because I took off 12 decibels at 30 hertz. All right. But you do what you got to do in order to get the intelligibility back to the voice. Now, this is kind of an important thing that I learned that I have to deal with in the past, because as you might know, I actually am a forensic audio expert as well. Yeah, well, what is this expert stuff? Yeah, that's a person who has testified in court to legal matters in your expertise area. So the court will recognize you. This was the Superior Court of California that recognized me as an expert witness. I'm an expert in forensic audio, in audio and enhancement work for audio, and then also for forensic video and photography too. So I have the ability to go to court to testify into my own personal opinions. It's basically opinion evidence on legal matters. So you have to have a certain amount of expertise, and the court has to recognize you for that. If they don't recognize you for that, you cannot testify as to your opinions of things regarding those areas of your expertise. So the very first expertise I ever got in court was forensic audio. Yeah, we had a case where, well, I won't go into the details of the case, but they wanted me to testify on the behalf of the prosecution, which is, of course, the district attorney's office in San Diego County, because I was working for them at the time. but I had never testified in that manner. Now, as an evidence technician, I have testified in many cases as to what I did at the crime scene and how I found the evidence and laid the foundation for the evidence to go into the case. But in this particular case, they wanted me to give my opinion of what I thought the sound that we were hearing was. In this case, it was a gunshot. Okay, but in order to do that, because you're not actually, you're actually giving an opinion. You're not actually giving anything other than your own personal opinion. The court has to recognize or not recognize you as an expert. If the court, after they send, it's called voir dire, where they send you as a potential witness for expert testimony, the court has to, at that point, after the attorney tells you, asks you questions and you answer about your expertise and why you're qualified to do what you're doing, the court has to recognize you either as an expert or turn you down. So about 45 minutes on the stand, that was the longest I've ever been on the witness stand. 45 minutes later, I was recognized as a court expert. And so anytime going forward at this point for the rest of my life, I can testify in criminal cases and civil cases as to my opinion on anything that has to do with audio, photography, and video, because I went through it for video and photography as well. Video and photography went really quick. The court immediately recognized me as an expert. I didn't have to go through all this whole process because everybody knew who I was out in San Diego at the time. The attorneys know who I was. The defense attorneys knew who I was. So when they put me up as an expert to testify in those areas, the defense attorney just says, look, let's just not waste the court's time. Everybody knows who he is. So he says, we stipulate, meaning we give up. We will say whatever they say. So when the prosecution said we want to offer him as an expert witness, they stipulated to it. So essentially, the judge immediately says, well, he is now an expert in those areas. So anyways, with the whole thing with the audio, it's kind of a big deal for me to make sure sounds a certain way, because it was things that I did back in my days of law enforcement. And of course, as you know, I have a lot of music background and things like that too. So really, it's important for me to make sure things sound right and look right on the things that I do. I mean, it doesn't always come out perfect, but you strive to get the best you can. That's what it boils down to. Anyway, give you some background on court things. I do miss my days in court, that's for sure. I do think about it a lot. I mean, it's been many, many years since I've been, working in law enforcement and dealing with that stuff. But it was a highlight for sure. All right, so I'm gonna go to Costco. I was very tempted to go to Sonic today. Sonic had a special, double hamburger, cheeseburger thing, a quarter pounder, double quarter pounder with cheese for $1.99. I said, maybe I should do that, but I don't know what that's going to do to me. So I just said, forget it. I'm going to go to the tried and true, which is the Costco pizza. And a Diet Pepsi. Yeah, I know I shouldn't do that, but yeah, I'm kind of thirsty anyway. So I'm going to go inside and do that. I had other things I was going to talk about today, but somehow we got into this whole thing about forensic audio. Maybe on the way back. Yeah, maybe on the way back I'll do another video. We'll talk about the things I really intended to talk about. Anyways, stay warm and safe out there. I'll do a second video. We'll release that on another day about the things that I really was going to talk about. So, be sure to watch that episode as well. Anyways, if you like this version, go ahead and hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Let me know what you think about this whole forensic stuff. And if you're interested in hearing more about certain forensic background things or cases I've worked on, I can't go into specifics on everything, but, I can give you some generalizations at least. All right, I'll talk to you guys next time.